Hello everyone and welcome to episode 12 of Off the Grid, the series where we take a look at tracks that have hosted F1 races in the past and tracks that have never been on the F1 schedule, and then see if we can beat a target lap time set to us by ChatGPT on Assetto Corsa. This weekend, the biggest event on the American sporting calendar takes place, the NFL's Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59 is being played in New Orleans, but for this episode of Off the Grid, we're going to Vegas, where the Super Bowl was last year, and to a track that shares the same name as this year's venue. The Caesars Palace Circuit in Las Vegas, Nevada, first opened in 1981 in the car park or parking lot of the famous Caesars Palace Hotel beside the Vegas Strip, which F1 races along today. At 3.650 kilometers or 2.268 miles long, it will be only longer than Monaco on the current calendar, but with 84 laps it will have the highest lap count due to Monaco's exception to the 305 kilometer race distance regulation. Just 14 turns with 10 left and 4 right give the circuit the uncommon anti-clockwise orientation, with the majority being medium to high speed in modern machinery. 2 DRS zones will be available to the drivers, the first along the pit straight from the exit of turn 14 to turn 1. The second just before from turn 13 to turn 14. This could be a double DRS with both zones using the same detection point, as the straights are relatively short, therefore giving a better opportunity to overtake. Both could also use separate detection points, giving an opportunity for drivers that might be overtaken into the final turn to fight back into turn 1. Formula 1 raced here in Vegas for 2 years in 1981 and 1982, with Alan Jones and Michele Alboreto taking a victory apiece. Once F1 left, the old kart or IndyCar championship raced on a modified 5-turn version of the track for another 2 years until 1984. Following the 1982 Grand Prix, it was decided that Formula 1 would not return to Caesars Palace for multiple reasons. The crowd was small and the event and track was not exciting to either fans or drivers. The extreme heat of the desert climate during the day was becoming hazardous for drivers, and the hotel was making a loss by hosting the race. Caesars Palace has been described by many as one of the worst tracks F1 has ever raced at. For its debut in 1981, the Caesars Palace Grand Prix was the season finale. Going into the race, Carlos Reutemann led the championship by a single point over Nelson Piquet. Reutemann claimed pole position, but during the race fell back to finish outside the point in 8th place. Championship rival Piquet didn't qualify as well, but moved up the field into P5 to claim 2 points and the first of his 3 world titles by a single point. After the race, Piquet took 15 minutes to recover from heat exhaustion, which almost caused him to not finish and miss out on the championship crown. When F1 returned to Nevada in 2023 at the new Las Vegas Street Circuit, it was a major upgrade from the Caesars Palace car park. In fact, the new circuit is almost twice as long, and the Caesars Palace circuit could easily fit inside the footprint of the modern track. It has been over 40 years since Formula 1 or any series has raced at the Caesars Palace circuit, and as you can imagine, Vegas has developed a lot since then. The car park which facilitated the temporary track no longer exists, and instead famous Las Vegas structures such as the Forum and the Mirage Hotel stand in its place. So I don't think those buildings will be moved anytime soon to rebuild one of Formula 1's worst circuits, and despite a lot of criticism, I think the track Vegas currently has is pretty good, so we're just going to have to remake it. Or more like download it and install it on the sim. ChatGPT has predicted a 1 minute 10 to a 1:15, so the target set at 1 minute 12.5. Let's load it up and see if we come out on top in Vegas. So as we're preparing to get going on our first lap here in the Caesars Palace car park in Las Vegas, coming into turn 1, didn't really know where the track was going, to be honest, just kind of getting used to it, and that's pretty evident on the exit here, just running a bit too wide. It tightens up on the exit of that first turn, so something to keep in mind of. As now into turn 3, just carrying a bit too much speed and we go for a little bit of a spin, so not the best start to this session, as then we skip forward a bit to another couple of turns, and once again just braking a bit too late there, going into the gravel, and our first lap to try and acclimatise to this circuit didn't go the best. We went then for another lap and once again another few issues, but we ended up setting a 1:14.0, which wasn't valid, but still only a second and a half off our target time, so it's looking pretty good. And then our very next lap we set a 1 minute 12.587, so just under a tenth away from our target as we kept going. And this left-hander here bit my nemesis on this track. I was just braking way too late. It was a lot tighter than I was expecting, even after getting used to the track, and it's still making a bit of a mess of it. As there, just before this turn, as we make another big mistake, we were about 8 tenths up before, just running off the track and invalidating. So still a lot of time to find in this lap, or this track. Once again we make another mistake there at turn 5, and then coming out of the final turn just to start another flying lap we make another mistake, just trying to get on the power too early to carry as much speed as I can. And then 15 minutes left to go, obviously halfway through the session now, as always seems to be the case. Once you get to a certain point, try to push a bit too much, and that's when mistakes start to happen. We're going to stay on board for a full lap now, as into turn 1, wide on the entry, as we saw at the start of this session, it tightens up on the exit. Through the kink of turn 2, a nasty bump on the exit of that turn, and then into turn 3, a tricky one to get it right, tricky to get the exit. Now into turn 4, opening up the entry, flat out, we don't run wide this time, and then into turn 5, still braking a bit too late, but we managed to get stopped, as now on the exit. That one widens on the exit so you can carry a bit more speed, flat out through turn 6, and then again into a tricky hairpin off turn 7. Don't get the best exit there, but still pretty good, as through turn 8, very tight but still able to take it flat out in these modern Formula 1 cars, as into this second last braking zone on this track now. We run a bit wide on the exit onto the gravel a bit, which upsets our run. Through the flat out, third last, second last, as now we open the RS down into the last turn. We're almost 3 seconds up going into the final turn. We run a bit too wide, but we carry a lot of speed. Now as we cross the line, we improve to set up 1 minute 9.473. So we've well and truly bet the target now, but I decided to keep going, and we're going to let you enjoy the rest of this lap with the engine sounds. As we come into the final corner, we're about 7 tenths up, and we get a much better exit than we did on the previous lap. We improve once again to 1 minute 8.717. Decided to keep going just to see if I could do any better of a lap time, since it had about 12 minutes left. On the very next lap we run a bit too wide through the flat out right hander, and after that I decided we'd bet the target, so we'll call it a day. So in the end we managed to beat the target pretty convincingly at 1 minute 8.717, just under 4 seconds below our target of a 1 minute 12.5, and even managed to dip below the lower end of the range given to us by ChatGPT. And I really think there was a lot more time in the lap. The one that I did, the personal best, wasn't even a great lap, but even though there was time left in the session, I just didn't really want to drive around Caesar's Palace anymore. So I think it goes without saying then that if it was possible, I don't think it would be added to a Formula 1 calendar these days. Just nothing really great about the track. There's no corners or anything that, if you get them right, they feel nice and feel satisfying to nail it. And in terms of racing, the DRS zones are way too short. There's no real turns that provide a blatant overtaking opportunity, and if it was already described as one of the worst tracks in F1 history back when it was on the calendar, I don't think that modern, bigger, faster Formula 1 cars would make it any more exciting. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I think that the track that Vegas currently has is already good enough. But with that then, I hope you did enjoy this episode of Off the Grid at Caesar's Palace. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe before you go. But until the next one, thanks for watching, see you then.